This episode is not sponsored, but we encourage you to help support the small businesses, charities, and organisations that we mention.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Our Circle. I'm Rhiannon.
And I'm Jess.
The other day was World Mental Health Day, and it kind of had me thinking about, my mental health and the things that help my mental health, the things that don't help my mental health. And one of the key things that I think I've really noticed over the last 2 years is how temperature affects my mental health. And I wondered if you feel that temperature affects your mental health. And when I'm saying temperature, I'm not saying weather, and I will get back to that, but very big difference. Do you find that it affects yours?
I notice that I am less patient if I'm hot. If I'm sweating and I am extremely hot and red, and it makes me more agitated, I feel like it heightens that anger side in me. My temperament, my patience, everything is a lot shorter. And I noticed that I'm quite self-aware as a person. I know my triggers, and heat is definitely one of them. I can't say I've noticed it for being cold. I mean, I don't know if it's just my body's temperature. I don't get cold as often as I get hot. I think you and I are like very similar. Yeah, I think you and I are very similar in that, you know, we've got friends who can wear layers and layers of jumpers and scarves and be absolutely fine. Whereas if that was me, even in the winter, if I was to wear a jumper with a puffy coat on top, I get to work and I am sweating.
The thought of you just so saying embarrassing. You just saying it made my back automatically like
get wet.
Yeah, like Niagara Falls is coming. Like it's literally just like, oh. So I feel the same. For me, when my body temperature, I feel like I'm like a furnace as well. I feel like I get really, really hot. And if I'm hot, for me, it mimics a panic attack. Because when I'm in a panic attattack, I get very hot. Like my face gets really hot. My head feels really hot. And
clammy. And
that part's kind of weird. Because when you feel clammy, you're kind of cold in your hands, actually, I guess. But it's just an uncomfortable feeling. So when I feel hot, I feel like my brain feels tricked. It's almost like it's in a panic attack. Because it sounds kind of sad, but because I've had so many panic attacks in my life, my body's very used to panic attacks, if that makes sense. So instead of just recognizing, oh, you're just feeling hot, it's like, oh, we're having a panic attack, but why? And it's sort of, it almost induces one, because I'm like, well, these are all the symptoms of my panic attack. What were you anxious about today, Ree? What's happening? And
waiting for your brain to catch up with the physical
it's like, oh, we haven't actually caused this. What's happening? And it's like, no, actually, you're just hot. And I was sort of thinking about how a lot of people I think in the UK, they tend to get seasonal depression, don't they? Like they get really sad in the winter months. And Jess and I had spoke about this and said how we kind of thrive when it gets colder, because we're not getting hot. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I know I'm definitely speaking for me, because I've put on weight over the last few years. Clothes just don't feel comfortable in heat either. You just feel really like just uncomfortable, sometimes sticky if you're sweating like we do, and it just adds to the mental health for me. So if I'm already feeling panicky, to then feel self-conscious and have all of those other things, that instantly affects my mood, which will then influence my decision making and stuff. So obviously if I'm feeling not confident, say if it was like going out somewhere and I already am like, I feel boiling, I now also feel unconfident in what I'm wearing. Oh, fuck it, I'm not going. I don't want to go. Let me stay home, sort of thing. It affects my plans and stuff. And that's really embarrassing in some ways. But I don't think I'm the only one. And I know obviously that you feel similar in that sense.
Oh, 100%. I remember in the summer, we were making plans. We were going to go, I think we were going to go out in Twickenham. We were going to go by the river and we were going to listen to music and everything. And it was one of those really, really hot days.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, as soon as I saw what the weather was going to be like, I was definitely thinking on behalf of both of us, because we were supposed to be coming to your house first anyway. I was like, I really hope we can stay at yours, because just for that reason, if I want to take a layer off, you know, not 100% confident in my body at the moment.
Yeah.
Like you said, especially in the summer, you just feel, I don't know, I felt bigger, I felt uncomfortable, I felt like I had more flaps and things. So I was like, I'd feel a lot more comfortable sort of stripping off in your garden than I would sort of in a place with a lot of people around. So yeah, I think there are a lot of pardon the pun, layers to it. Lots of different mental health things that come into play, because it's like that's so interesting what you're saying about mimicking your body, feeling like you're mimicking a panic attack. Like, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, it's what your body does to kind of cope when you're, or its reaction to a mental health episode. And it's just it's a horrible feeling.
And it's the same with sleep, actually. And I only recognized this earlier when I was doing a little bit of like research, just to be like, no, this isn't all just in your head, really. Like there's science behind this. And sleep, for Jess will know this about me, and any of my friends listening, I struggle a lot with sleep, for multiple reasons. One, I get just like FOMO, I don't want to go to sleep. But then the other thing is that I also, with like death anxiety that I have, which I've said many times, the closest thing, what this therapist says, she says that the closest thing to death is, you being asleep, because it's you lying still, and it's like dark and your body's becoming unconscious, all this sort of stuff. So sometimes I get really, really freaked out. So I'm like, I avoid going to sleep because I get very scared, which is just sad anyway. But I don't know how I rolled into this whole thing. But the other thing that I don't particularly enjoy with sleep is I am quite a vivid dreamer, as we know from our dreams episode. I have
go back and listen.
I have a lot going on in this brain of mine, and obviously if I'm having dreams that make me panicky or whatever, that doesn't help. But I think me being hot makes me uncomfortable in my sleep, so therefore again I wonder if that actually influences my dreams, because my body temperature is hot, so maybe in my dreams it's being affected too from my heat.
Yeah, and also if you're hot, you're not sleeping as well. Less sleep means your mental health's gonna be worse. Like, fact.
We don't cope well with limited sleep.
Not, oh my god, no. I can't cope at all. Literally patience is so thin on a good day. So throw in heat and lack of sleep.
I know.
Summertime's not good.
I know. And I was thinking, with the cost of living crisis and everything, my family was saying, I think we're going to be fine, because our worst time is summer, because Ree gets so hot she has to have the fan on all the time.
Right.
And my dad
is saving
like, my dad is someone who gets hot really easy, but he doesn't get panic attacks from it. He's just like, oh, I'm hot, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'm just like, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. But anyway, what I was trying to get at is there is actually a sort of science, I guess, behind it, and studies that have really been going into it recently, which makes me feel better, because I'm like, good, help me cope. And just some of the stuff that I was seeing it across everything. When I typed it in on my phone, I think I screenshotted it, actually. I think I typed in something like, does temperature affect mental health? And all of the things that were coming up were saying extreme heat, hotter weather, heat. And so everything to do with heat was having some type of reaction and effect on people's mental health. And some of the recent studies that I've seen, they're saying that association between hotter temperatures and increase of both number of hospital visits for mental health reasons and suicide rates. And obviously I'm not trying to make this a downer, but obviously we're just trying to relate to World Mental Health Day and awareness and stuff. And I just thought it might be something that maybe our listeners haven't actually considered, that their mental health may be actually being affected by their body temperature, and that's something that you can try and regulate. And it's something that I try and do, and I know that Jess does the same. We are conscious of what we're wearing, like how we were saying some of our friends, they all wear layers. We're like, absolutely not, I'm not wearing layers. I want layers to take off, not put on. But some people might not actually be considering this, so you might find this like a little bit of a tip, if you like, or something that to maybe just think about and sit with you and see if it actually helps with your mental well-being. And one of the other things it was saying in this study was saying that how cooler temperatures can bring a lot of other mental health benefits. And it made me think of Wim Hof. And I don't know if you are aware of this guy.
No.
Okay, so I actually very, very briefly mentioned him in our Eurovision episode. And that's just
Ah,
because he appeared in a Eurovision what's it called, music video
okay.
for the UK, but this has nothing to do with Eurovision. Sorry. Um, so basically, this guy called Wim Hof is this incredible, eccentric man. I'd love to meet him so much. I can't remember what country he's based in, but long story short, he has mastered the, I don't know if you want to call it the art or technique of extreme cold temperatures and cold exposure therapy. And the idea is that, I don't know if you've heard of it before, where people who go swimming in lakes and
Yeah,
see,
first thing in the morning.
yes, it creates it gives the same effect as taking an antidepressant pill.
Yeah.
Maybe not for everyone, but it's studies have shown that it does that. It has that effect,
Hmm.
and I really want to get to that point, but I'm not there yet. Like, I'd love
Yeah.
to be one of those. I'd love to be a morning person for a start, but a morning swim person would be great too, or
Mm.
cold exposure therapy. But it's the same idea, except he is on another level. He does it in the most coldest, iciest, snowiest places and
Right.
climates, and he's walking around pretty much barefoot in swim trunks and a little hat, but no, like, no length to his pants, no t-shirt. He is completely bare almost to the elements around him, which are very
Mm.
cold. And he had a TV show on a UK channel 4 with who were the presenters? Holly Willoughby and what's his name? He's a really funny comedian. Oh, I feel bad for not remembering his name. But anyway, they did a series, and I got really into it. It was with, I think, about 8 celebrities. So it had Professor Green, it had Diane from Strictly Come Dancing, it had Gabby Logan, it had Alfie Bowie, a whole combination of different celebrities who had, it didn't really get announced why they were doing it. You sort of watched it thinking, oh, okay, they've just got a random bunch, sort of like I'm a Celebrity or Big Brother, those sorts of things,
Mm.
like just a random collection. But when you got more into the episodes, you recognized that they were all there for mental health reasons, and it was a quite difficult watch at times, because you're witnessing and listening to these people just talk about some of the things that they've been struggling with mentally, and your heart breaks whenever you hear someone struggling in any way, or at least mine does. I found it really hard to hear, but watching how they reacted to the exercises, I found so fascinating. Some of them, it would be where you just have to sit in an ice bath, and I mean, that's not
Right.
appealing to many people at all on the best of days, but to do
Mm.
it when you're feeling really depressed or anxious, like, that is also not first nature to me. So
Yeah.
it's amazing that they were trying to encourage that kind of thing, and the main thing that I think a lot of people were trying to get from this or be promoted to do is something very simple that we can all do, which is cold showers. Cold showers
Right.
are supposed to have one of the biggest mental health effects and like benefits, and way to improve your mental health, and it's something ridiculous, like just doing it for 60 seconds makes a difference, but it's
Sounds like a long time.
I know, right? Like, that's at least half of a song. So you have to build yourself up to it,
Yeah.
but I think it's an interesting concept to try, and cold exposure therapy, in my opinion, I think would really work for me. And I've kind of noticed it since it's been getting cold. Well, I say this, I feel like I'm noticing it, but I wonder if that's just because I'm happier because it's colder. So I've been walking to work and my face feels freezing in the
Mm.
cold air at the moment, but it's made me smile as I'm walking. I'm like, oh,
Okay.
this feels really nice. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
feeling boiling. I'm feeling a bit more
Yeah.
awake. I'm feeling a bit more alive. And I don't know, I'm recognizing that could be something that could really work for me.
Hmm.
However, I understand that is also not for everyone. And I think I was thinking about how we were linking this to like temperature as opposed to weather, because I think the reason that a lot of people feel sad in winter, especially in the UK, is because of the rain and things like
Right.
that. Like how it sort of gets in the way of plans, or I don't know, it makes some people feel limited when
Yeah.
it's raining and stuff. Whereas I love the rain; it's so
Mm.
calming to me. Do you? I
I
can't remember if
like I like the rain when I'm at home. I don't have to go out. and I can get comfortable in my cozy clothes and it's raining outside, it really makes me feel really peaceful. It makes me feel safe, warm, dry, because I don't like it when I'm sure everyone's been caught in the rain at some point, but being caught in the rain on your way home, like it happened to me a couple of months ago on my way home from work, and I was drenched. I was like a drowned rat, and I came home and I was just like completely stripped all my clothes off, but it was quite an uncomfortable, horrible, soggy feeling. So I think, yeah, temperature is obviously different to rain, but yeah, I can understand why. And I guess like, it's like the opposite of what you envisage being on holiday being like, and you associate holiday with feeling calm and relaxed, don't you? And
comfortable.
Yeah. Although I say that, like, I've gone to hot destinations on holiday and felt very uncomfortable in the heat. I'll have to go into my aircon like room or something like that.
But the key thing there is that, one, you had something to keep you cool.
Yeah.
And also, we're not in a country that is meant to be for that climate. And I think that's some of the things that used to bug me when I'd see online when, international people be like, why are the UK complaining about the heat? Or, we have this all year round. It's like, yeah, you have it all year round because that's your climate. Our climate is rain. It's rain for, I would say, 70% of the year. It's sunshine for a few weeks of the year, and cloudy and stuff, and I don't mind it, if I'm being honest. I used to be really sort of down about it when I was younger, I think, but as I've got older, I'm like, do you know what, this works for now. I'm fine with this because I don't want extreme temperatures in this country, because we already established that we don't like having loads of heat if that's something that we can't deal with, but also it's a reminder of climate change, and that brings on more anxiety. I think it just let the country be, or let this country have the climate it's meant to have. Let's not go to extreme heats, please. But also, we're in a country that's just not equipped for it. So I think that's why, when you were saying when you're on vacation or something, you feel a bit more relaxed because you're somewhere that's probably got a pool, or you're near the sea,
or you can escape
aircon.
it somehow.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you. You mentioned climate change. Do you think with climate change and the world getting warmer, that could bring more mental health issues?
So that was something that I read, and it was saying that is something that we could predict to see, sort of thing. And that makes me feel quite sad, because I think a lot of people won't, I was about to say, not everyone would have listened to this episode and realised that.
We're the first people to bring this to light.
But you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people won't realise why that it is just a simple thing of temperature affecting their mental health, because you're feeling, maybe uncomfortable, maybe your brain's not working as fast. When you overheat, it's like anything, when it overheats, it doesn't work as well. And I think some people won't recognize that, and it will come as quite a big shock to them. And I think that's quite sad. Like, I think the percentage I can see here for if something goes up so this is in Fahrenheit, I can't remember what that equates to when it's Celsius, but everyone just go on your phone and do the other, select the other, and you can figure it out. It's saying if an average monthly temperature goes up by 1 Fahrenheit, that leads to a 0.48% increase in mental health in the emergency department visits, and a 0.35 increase in suicides. I mean, any type of increase isn't good, is it, in my opinion? So I think they were also saying, though, if it was to be a steady incline in heat, or something like that, it might be less of a dramatic shock. Exactly. But I was thinking, like, the type of heat waves that we experience quite dramatically over the summer months this year in the UK, I do wonder what kind of effects that might have had on people.
Yeah. And I suppose, like, you got to take into consideration things like COVID. Like, we were stuck indoors for so long, and everyone's wanting to go out and experience almost lost time. And so you're out and you're hot and you're bothered, and
then sometimes wearing masks as well, that makes you even hotter as well.
There are so many things that can trigger that increase in heat and feeling uncomfortable, and you might not be aware of it and aware that it can affect your mental health. It's fascinating how physical symptoms can affect your mental state.
I think so. I'm not using this episode to scare anyone or anything, but I just wanted to put that awareness out there, because sort of thought about, and I thought actually it really does affect my mental health. And if it can help someone else realizing that maybe that they just need to regulate their body temperature or be a bit more mindful, or you might have someone in your life who's been struggling and it's actually clicking to you why that might be, you might be able to, you know, lend them a hand here or
Give
a
them some
fan.
ice.
Hydrate. Just something to bear in mind.
Today's episode is dedicated to two charities. The first one is called The Listening Place. This was set up in London by a group of volunteers who have a great deal of experience in helping support people who feel suicidal. So their mission is to help those who are feeling suicidal, like they have a safe place to come and talk to freely about anything that's going through their mind, and just support them to, you know, feeling good again and helping them in their darkest times. So you can go to their website to find out how you can donate and fundraise and just support this amazing cause, which you can visit by going to listeningplace.org.uk. And then the second one is Believe Foundation, be like the bumblebee. It's a children's mental health charity based in Surrey, whose aim is to help as many young people and their families as they can to deal positively with the challenges and trauma caused by mental health issues, which obviously is so relevant to today's episode and something that we feel very strongly about. So you can support them and find out more about donating by visiting their website, which is B as in BEELIEVE, so believefoundation.co.uk, and you can visit their Instagram at Believe Foundation.
Thank you everyone for listening. I hope that you stay cool or warm, however you want to be. And please make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on all those platforms that we are streaming on, and we'll see you for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.